Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. Your crypto wallet might have a ghost in it right now, and you wouldn't even know it. Today, we're diving into the shadowy world of zero-day exploits in blockchain security. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what these invisible threats are, how AI is changing the game, and what it means for the future of cryptocurrency security. And joining me to unpack all of this is our blockchain security expert. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a zero-day vulnerability?
Well, a zero-day vulnerability is essentially a security flaw that's unknown to the software developers themselves. The term zero-day comes from the fact that developers have 0 days to fix it before it can be exploited.
So it's like finding a secret door in a house that even the architect didn't know existed?
Exactly. And in the crypto space, these vulnerabilities are particularly dangerous because of the decentralized nature of blockchain. Once someone exploits that secret door, there's often no way to reverse the damage.
That's pretty terrifying. How common are these vulnerabilities?
According to recent data, blockchain-related hacks resulted in losses of $3.8 billion in 2022 alone. And that's just what we know about.
Wow, that's a staggering number.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. We're seeing a fundamental shift in how these vulnerabilities are being discovered and exploited.
What do you mean by that?
Well, according to recent research from Anthropic, AI agents can now autonomously identify and exploit zero-day vulnerabilities in smart contracts without any human intervention.
Hold on, you're saying AI can now hack blockchain systems on its own?
Yes. In a recent study, they tested AI agents against nearly 3,000 recently deployed contracts on the Binance Smart Chain.
And what did they find?
The AI agents discovered 2 completely new vulnerabilities and generated working exploit scripts. They even managed to simulate profits of over $3,600 from these exploits.
That's both impressive and concerning. What's the cost of running these AI-powered attacks?
That's the scary part. It only costs about $1.22 per contract to scan for vulnerabilities. This dramatically lowers the barrier to entry for potential attackers.
So we're looking at a future where AI could be constantly probing for weaknesses in blockchain systems?
Exactly. And what's more concerning is that more than half of the blockchain exploits carried out in 2025 could have been executed autonomously by current AI agents.
Let's talk about the types of vulnerabilities these AI systems are finding. What are the most common ones?
There are 3 main categories that account for about 60% of identified smart contract breaches: reentrancy attacks, integer overflow underflow, and access control flaws.
Could you break those down for us?
Sure. Reentrancy attacks are when hackers recursively call functions before previous transactions complete, essentially draining value from protocols.
Like getting stuck in an ATM loop that keeps giving you money?
That's a good analogy. Integer overflow vulnerabilities are about manipulating token balances by exploiting mathematical limits in the calculations.
And access control flaws?
Those allow unauthorized users to execute privileged functions when proper permission checks aren't implemented correctly.
It sounds like we're in an arms race between security measures and these evolving threats.
Absolutely. And this is where zero-trust architecture comes in. It's becoming increasingly important in blockchain security.
What exactly is zero-trust architecture?
It's a security framework built on the principle of never trust, always verify. Every transaction and access attempt is treated as potentially malicious.
That sounds pretty paranoid.
In today's environment, it's necessary paranoia. Recent research shows that while zero-trust systems might be slightly slower, they significantly enhance security.
How much slower are we talking?
According to recent studies, there's a marginal increase in latency, about 74 milliseconds versus 49 milliseconds in traditional systems.
That doesn't sound too bad for the extra security.
No, it's a reasonable trade-off. And it's particularly important because blockchain transactions are irreversible.
Let's talk about solutions. What can developers do to protect against these vulnerabilities?
Regular audits are crucial, but beyond that, developers need to implement fail-safe designs in their smart contracts.
What about individual users? How can they protect themselves?
Using reputable wallets, enabling multi-factor authentication, and storing assets in hardware wallets are essential steps.
It seems like the stakes are getting higher as more money flows into crypto.
Definitely. The financial incentives for finding and exploiting these vulnerabilities are growing substantially.
Are there any positive developments in blockchain security?
Yes, actually. Zero-knowledge proofs are becoming more prevalent. They allow verification without exposing sensitive data.
How does that work?
Think of it like proving you're old enough to enter a bar without actually showing your ID. You can prove a condition is true without revealing the underlying data.
That's a clever solution.
And it's particularly important for privacy compliance under frameworks like GDPR and HIPAA.
What about the role of AI in defending against these attacks?
AI is being used for anomaly detection and identifying potential vulnerabilities before they can be exploited.
So AI is both the threat and potentially the solution?
Exactly. It's a double-edged sword that's reshaping the entire security landscape.
What do you see as the biggest challenge going forward?
The speed of automation. These AI systems can find and exploit vulnerabilities faster than humans can patch them.
That's concerning. How do you stay ahead of that?
It requires a fundamental shift in how we approach security, moving from reactive to proactive defense strategies.
Like the zero trust architecture you mentioned earlier?
Exactly. And implementing more automated security measures that can respond in real time to threats.
As we wrap up, what's your key takeaway for our listeners?
The landscape of blockchain security is changing rapidly. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, especially with AI in the mix. So stay informed, use multiple security measures, and never assume your assets are completely safe.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. Remember, in the world of blockchain security, what you don't know can definitely hurt you. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, even ghosts leave traces in the blockchain.